Okay. Hey, my name is Phil the Cruz, Cruising with Phil, special edition, War 20 candidates, by-election 2023. Special guest today is Jessica Hines. Hey, Jessica, how you doing in your misty kind of atmosphere there?
Hello, how are you
I'm good. I know what's going on with that misty thing. It looks good anyways, you know.
doing?
It reminds me of those all Hollywood movies or like those little series when they focus on the woman or whatever, they put this like mist around her, you know.
And then your face just looks like
Yeah, and your eye kind of glitz. Yeah, that's what reminds you of. Yeah, well, that's okay. I can still see ya. So, how you doing? How's the campaign going?
oh man, it is going a little bit stressful.
Yeah.
I don't have like a big team, but there's a I'm my background's Jamaican, so there's a saying that goes like we're little but we're Talawa. So,
I love
you're
it.
mighty. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's the spirit that I have right now
Oh,
in
did the ad help? Did the ad help you out with the Facebook I put for helping out? Did you get any calls?
Yeah, I've been getting calls.
Well,
Yeah, no,
good.
are super generous with their time. So thank you for your help.
Good. I'll just keep recirculating. If you need more help, I'll just like Alan Gard did the same thing too. That's great. Wow, I'm glad to help. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know it's
thank
hard getting saved. Yeah. So we talked last night there, the debate there. Good debate and all. What do you think of last night's debate?
Oh
Yours-
man. Yes. I hope I said the right things. Well, that was my first time being in that kind of forum.
Yeah.
Uh, and at first I was just really nervous, even just about introducing myself, because naturally I'm a very like shy
Yeah.
person. And so just having to introduce myself sometimes, I'm just like, I hope I'm not coming off as ignorant or egotistical. Like I just hope that people can see that I'm a genuine person, and I really do care and respect this role. So, but I think there are really good candidates too that are running.
You're all great candidates. I love it. Yeah. You know what I'll do
Yeah.
next time? The next one on Tuesday. If you're gonna get out of your shyness, I bring my highlight beams, my headlights. I'll say, "Here's Jessica," and I'll put the lights right on you. You can I'll break your shyness. All the spotlights. All these cats are going, "What's with her and all the spotlights, man?" I'm kidding. Anyways, you want to tell everybody about yourself and your background?
Yeah, yeah. So my name's Jessica Hines. I'm raised in Scarborough, but I was born in Toronto. I'm the eldest of six kids to
Oh my God.
immigrant. Yeah, my parents are from Jamaica, and they met here in Canada. That story, and now I'm here, kind of thing. And yeah, in terms of Scarborough, I lived in very multiple places throughout Scarborough. I lived at Bertrand and Eglinton at one point. I lived at Oran Park in Lawrence. Right now, I live near Agent Court. My high school was Cedar Brae Collegiate. And yeah, so I just lived around Scarborough. I know Scarborough honestly like the back of my hand. I know a lot of people that live in the riding. They're like, well, you don't live here. You shouldn't. You. It's going to be harder for you to run, and I definitely understand that. But I think it's also good to have someone that is from like the outside that
Mhm.
can also bring in like a fresh new
Yeah.
perspective going on in that specific space. And so some people ask me to like, have you done politics in the past? What is like your affiliations, so on and so forth. So for me, like politics has always been in the background for me. I first started out with the Toronto Youth Cabinet, helping them out like when I was in high school. So I used to take the bus from Scarborough to go all the way downtown at City Hall and advocate for rights for youth in Scarborough. And after that, like I've helped out other campaigns with different city councillors, whether and also helped out like provincially and federally too, with like different campaigns and so forth. So I've been around the block, but I just been in the background. I just haven't
Yeah,
put
but
myself.
yeah. And at least you're involved with politics, like you're in the back, but you're still getting the scoop and getting your foot in the door, right? So what made you
Yeah.
decide? What made you decide? Like you said, you're not that war, but you know the area. What made you decide to put your name in for this by-election?
hmm Well, a lot of things. Well, for me, in working with other city councilors, like I noticed when it comes to issues pertain to Scarborough, a lot of them are very quiet. And I've also noticed too that there's a lot of disagreements when it comes to development in Scarborough. And I think when Scarborough is brought up into any conversations, is always like a reactive approach. And for me, it's like, well, we shouldn't wait until the RT completely is destroyed for you to now have a plan for Scarborough. Like, we shouldn't start having a plan for Scarborough because of the rising homelessness, the visible homelessness that's happening, or, school shutdowns and all that stuff. Like, it's always a reactive approach when it comes to Scarborough. And I think that we need leaders that actually care about Scarborough, that want to be proactive and plan better for the future and for Scarborough. So for me, I think with my experience right now, and over the years, like I think I have enough knowledge to be that voice for Scarborough. And I know that sounds very cliche, but we seriously need someone that can step up to the plate and not be apologetic to ask for things. Yeah.
And like I said about neglected Scarborough, the RT. Well, how many years the plan of the RT for Scarborough? Scarborough's like, this ward is one of the biggest wards in the whole area, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I bike quite often on Lawrence going down to Petticoat Creek when my sister lived in Pickering. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like we just see a system here, like it's ridiculous. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a turn
Yeah.
off.
It's crazy. And I remember too, a few weeks ago, I was at an event. It was actually an urban planning event in like downtown, and they were highlighting parts of Wexford because U of T was actually doing a project on Wexford. And so I was there and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool to see like some Scarborough stuff,
Yeah,
right? It was really weird. And so I was talking to one of the professors, one of the U of T professors, we were just talking generally just about politics. And I didn't even tell her that like I was thinking of running at the time. But she's like, honestly, one of the biggest reasons why Scarborough doesn't get the funding and investments that it needs is because, like I said earlier, the people that are sitting in their positions comfortably are not advocating for it. Once anything needs to be done for like downtown, whether it's like the 504 or the street needs to get fixed, like downtown politicians, like you cannot argue with them because they are there. They're going to be very vocal about what their community needs. And so she's like, yeah, Scarborough just needs that. And she only highlighted one individual out of like the few Scarborough reps that she like can think of. And I'm like, no, like there's so many representatives of Scarborough, but for you to only one person comes to mind is kind of telling.
yeah, it's sad. Yeah, you know, kind of
Yeah.
like everything's like downtown. When I did lecture running canvassing last year, everything has to be downtown. I don't know what the right like. Everything's built downtown, like Skydome built downtown, CN Tower. But other like the Air Canada, like even this thing with the third, they want to bring this third downtown. There's
Mhm.
so many wards out there. There's just so much property out there, right? Like Scarborough's like so much neglected property. You've seen like Shepherd and Lawrence and all that. Like there's so many. There's an abandoned mill fields at Shepherd and Kennedy. I was talking to one of the candidates. Said that building been sitting there for like 10 years. It's empty. They could just redo it and put some people in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Years. And I always like pass by there too. And I'm like, well, what are they going to do with it? Right. And also too, when I look at the development happening, I guess at near Scarborough Town Center, right? Like with the proposed condo developments that's happening around Scarborough Town Center too. It's quite interesting because I'm so used to the landscape of it just being green, nothing there. And now it's like, oh, well, there's condos now. They're here. The condos have now
Oh,
arrived.
oh, it's so funny. Oh my gosh, wow. So it's good. So I was gonna say, you mentioned that you live in affordable housing too, right?
Say one more time.
Sorry, you live in affordable housing. You said last night.
I
You live
live
in
in a
affordable. You're part of affordable housing. You're in a
yes, 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 yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's good. That's good
yes.
because that's firsthand. You can experience you're experiencing all that's going on there. You said last night your debate there, right?
Yes, yes. So, right now I work for another nonprofit called Oakwood. Well, it's the Oakwood Bond Community Organization, and
Mhm.
essentially, they're a neighborhood group that cares a lot about their community. about their seniors, about those being displaced. And yeah, there's just like a lot of movement happening along Oakwood Vaughan. Some people would associate that neighborhood with like Little Jamaica. However, there is like so much happening there when it comes to people being displaced, seniors not feeling that they are even a part of the neighborhood anymore because of like the constant change, and even like the violence with youth and some of the, especially when you go down to like Keele and Eglinton, some of the schools having to shut down temporarily. So there's just like a lot going on. And even when it comes to, again, planning, the city zoning laws, when it comes to housing, kind of skipped that particular neighborhood, which is quite interesting because a lot of the people in that neighborhood actually need, affordable housing. And so it's just interesting that the city has like its own agenda when it comes to which parts of the city can have or can be designated as having like affordable units. So part of some of the work that I do is actually talk to developers and encourage them to have affordable units as a part of their development, because, and it makes sense coming from like a business perspective, like you're just all about making that profit and that's it, right? But the community should be a part of that discussion. And of course, like they have community consultations, but community sometimes doesn't even know like what their rights are. They don't know what to even advocate for and how they can even be a part of the new development that's happening. So yeah, I get to be in those conversations in the current work that I do.
Well, hey, last night they had the debate question, the 20 questions. Remember they asked you had your paddles, yes, no paddles. They said, did
Yeah.
they ask the question was would you rezone? Would you consider rezoning? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I would double check to see what the current zoning laws are for like that particular like neighborhood, because like I don't want to say like, oh, like, because I don't know if, and that's why I think I was maybe neutral. I can't remember if it said yes or no.
Yeah,
But
I got on tape. I'll send you the
yeah,
copy.
yeah, I can't remember if it said yes, but essentially, like if the city had designated that part of Scarborough to have like an X amount of new units to have affordable housing, then like I support that, right? Maybe does it need to have more? Like I don't know. So I would need to do like my own research before I would be like yes or no. I'm not sure if the city already has designated I don't know what the numbers are to be like yes or no to that answer. But of course, like I will always advocate for like affordable
Yeah.
housing spaces in the neighborhood.
It's so funny that rezoning is it's so not outdated, but it's so hell long overdue for changes.
Yeah.
Like, well, I just see like just not an example, not about housing, but Lawrence between Victoria Park and Pharmacy, there's no light there. And
Mm,
one of my church, one of the churches I go to is over there. It's called Precious Blood. This is about a couple years ago,
yeah.
and because of the old zoning laws, they said no, they have a like Victoria Park and Pharmacy. So there's between that time frame when they zoned it, buildings have gone up there. There's been like 4 deaths crossing the street to use the church. 3 seniors got in. So this went on for years, and finally
Mm,
they advocated to get a light. And actually, kudos to Mr. Thompson, councillor. He fought with that. The city, they made petitions, a lot of signatures. It took them about 3 years. They finally got the light. Finally, after so many years, but they said because of the old zoning laws, it's not needed. That's just a pure
mm,
example, right? Like even over
right.
here, Scarborough, they have like there's all these townhouses here. A couple years they want to rezone the area to make condos, and like this is all low level housing. There's no condos in this area except for ours. Our building's like 12 floors. That's the highest. But they want to
Mm,
build like 30, 40, 3 or 4 condos, like at least 50 40, I think it was like 40 heights or whatever, 40, yeah. But they didn't
mhm.
get passed because it's a zoning law. That's called Scarborough, where I live. This is Scarborough on the border of Victoria Park. It's called
Yeah.
Scarborough, but when you go looking for a house, like the new houses, it's still called Toronto because of the old zoning law. The address will be Scarborough and whatever they're supposed to go. When I'm looking for the like new house, I look at the address, still Toronto designated, even though it's Scarborough. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, no, it's so interesting that the rules are always changing, but then it's also changing for who, right?
Yeah.
So even though like they have all these proposals for condo developments or even apartments, but it's like, who are you catering for? And also, I always, when it comes to the housing situation, like finances to comes, well, at least is important in terms of how much are people making like a year these days, right? Like, um, we need to also consider people's like living conditions in terms of like, are you making enough money to afford to live here? Um, because it's one thing for you to even have affordable housing, but um, food is expensive, transportation is expensive, but yet your wages hasn't increased, right? Um, and so even like when I'm like around the neighborhoods and I look at a lot of those former like mom and pop shops have like closed down, and it
Oh
makes me sad.
yes, and they grew in the neighborhood. We talked about this in a couple of debates, right? You know,
Mhm.
they grew that they came from different countries. They immigrated here, like the Jewish area. That's all based on mom and pop stores, and they built around that community from people coming
Yeah.
from other countries, right? And it's a shame when they get taken up by conglomerates of the big businesses, and it's happened many times this year. Like Lawrence, there was a hat store on Lawrence and Don Mills for many years, and they
Mhm.
finally got taken up into the new Donville, the new plaza they put there. It's unfortunate, you know. I always thought there should be like a book or something out there produced how Toronto grew as a city for the small mom and pop stores that came from other countries, right? You know,
Yeah. There are some literature. Funny enough, so when I was doing my master's in business, I actually did a study on the small businesses along Chinatown, and I compared them to Little Jamaica.
what?
Um, yeah, because it's interesting to know, like, similar to what you said, why did these businesses start in the first place, and like, how are they surviving now? And of course, like, there's just so much like things to consider, whether that is, you know, the changes of, ethnic communities moving out of the neighborhood. So if you had, you know, a Jamaican store and that was servicing other Jamaicans that lived in the neighborhood, but now they've moved to, I don't know, Ajax because they now can afford a home, right? So like that uh, movement of people also affects businesses, right? There's not as many foot traffic anymore in a lot of these areas just because of, transportation is one thing I know. And I'm thinking on the context of Little Jamaica neighborhood where on the sidewalks, not on the sidewalks, but on the streets, the law enforcement, the lovely police officers are so quick to give you a ticket if you
Oh,
run
yeah.
into yeah, if you run to a store for like 5 minutes, like best believe you're going to get a
Ticket.
ticket.
They're like
Just,
vultures, eh?
yeah, yeah, just to shop, you're gonna get a ticket,
Parking guy. There you
right?
go.
So like that. So now when I'm thinking about the context of Scarborough, and I'm looking at okay, like um, with the new developments that's happening at the main floor, they're looking to, have retail space, but are these spaces pedestrian friendly? Are they car friendly or even cyclist friendly? How, like, what is going to be the movement of people the next like few years? Especially now with technology, a lot of things are online. So how are these mom and pop shops going to survive with the new
And some of
innovation?
some of their sorry to interrupt you. Some of the
Yeah,
like the kids that grew up with mom and pop, they don't want to take over the business, right? They'd rather do their own thing. So that's why they
yeah.
kind of go under, you know. You still have
Mhm.
how did you do in that article that you're for your school? Did you get graded on that or what?
Yeah, so it was my business consultancy like
Oh
part.
wow.
So, what happened was that during that time, I was working as an operations manager for a nonprofit called Black Urbanism,
Okay.
and
Yeah, I know about I heard about it. Yeah, yeah.
I
Black. Yeah.
working.
You know,
I,
that's a whole interview on itself, that top black urbanism. People don't
Mhm.
I you want to just tell briefly what that is? Because I know what that is, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So Black urbanism right now is well, right now it's grassroots, but next few years it'll be like well-known household nonprofit, or could maybe be a for-profit. Essentially, their mission is to like amplify the voices of the Black community. Their main focus, at least during the time that I was with them, was to support the businesses along Eglinton West that were like severely affected by the LRT. And right now, part of their mandate is to create something called a community land trust, using, well, really to support the commercial like landscape of Little Jamaica. So CLTs have been like around for like a long time. Other communities such as like Parkdale and Kensington have been able to like use that model to secure like community assets. So what they're trying to do in the neighborhood is to secure a lot of the, you know, the I would like to say iconic businesses on Eglinton, and to do that through like getting the community together, buying assets, so that they can stay in the long term. So like I was able to be, and I still support them in their efforts to support the.
It's just like what you're talking about the Black urbans, and it's really funny. Is now with all the culture coming up, I mean, like the acceptance,
Yeah.
giving more programs and education and funding for Blacks and all other ethnic backgrounds. It's funny. Like here's an example: they're supporting the Black community. They give them the funding. They give them schools. They give them support. They give them, but yeah, it comes down to it. If I walk down the street with all my nephews and nieces are Black, by the way. If I go down the street and we've done before, we've been followed by cops. So what did that tell you? What has changed? We're supporting the Black community, but yet they're the first ones to get arrested and busted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Right.
taking a concept. I mean, don't be mean about it, but it's still true, right? That prejudice is still there, old school out there, right? And then it's nice to have accepted with the residential schools where we're apologizing for accepting, recognizing native lands and all. It's all because of guilt and son, but guilt is necessary. But still, to this day, like I have friends that are Black, and he's a businessman. He was the other day he got accosted by a cop with his family because he was hanging around waiting for his wife to come out of the store, and a cop pulled him over and says, "Can I see your license?" And he said,
Mm-hmm.
"Why?" And he got accosted. And he's a Black guy. He's from Jamaica. Oh, speaking of Jamaica, do you do Jamaican cooking?
Yeah, of course.
Well, my brother-in-law's from Drake. My brother-in-law's from Drake. His brother-in-law's from Old Sharias. My brother-in-law.
Okay, yeah, Ochi. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
So he's a whole family's from Jamaica. So he does some of the Jamaican cooking. That's why I asked you. Do you make the rum cake? Jamaican rum
No,
cake?
oh, you know what? My aunt makes that.
It's so good. Yeah.
I can do
Yeah.
like the basic stuff. I can do like the ackee and saltfish, jerk chicken, I can do. But when it comes to more like they have this thing called rundown. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Like I can't make that. Like that's
Is that
stuff.
the patty? Is that the little patties things?
Patties, I don't even make patties. I just go to the store and buy it.
I know even the Indian stores now. Like my mom's by herself sometimes. So I buy the frozen products. Like, Mom, I make it from scratch. Oh, no, it's taking up too much of your time. Because we grew up with Indian cooking. My mom's Irish, but every Saturday was Irish stew. Every
Yeah.
Saturday. So when I joined the military and they serve me Irish stew for on fries, they take it away from me. I don't want it. I don't want it. But I love Jamaican food. I like down
Uh,
on Carabana. You know what's really funny? Carabana, like years ago, you can get the homemade Jamaican the sauce made for the jerk chicken. So now when you
yeah.
go down there, I say, I can taste the difference. I go, you didn't make this, you bought it. I go, yeah, yeah. I don't like that. I like the homemade sauce. There used to be one lady, she was in her 70s and she was some old Sharia. She used to had a little vending stop on the Caribbean on the university back in the university. No, sorry, Lakeshore. And she was
Mhm.
always there making the homemade sauce. She did. I think 3 days to make the homemade sauce for the jerk chicken, and now she's gone. I mean, I missed that for so many years. I get used to it, right? But that's why I asked for Jamaican cooking. You say I have you have 5 siblings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how they feel about you running for council?
You know what? They're my little minions. I have them. Yeah. The other day I was just thinking, I didn't tell my mom, but I'll tell her after this. But I was like, wow, like good thing my mom had all of us together because it's a little like team right now. Like now I understand
Your mom
that.
doesn't know you're running for council.
No, no, of course. Yeah, she
Okay.
helped. No, just the thought of I'm just so grateful to have all my siblings because I
Yeah.
can put them, that's why. I was just like, wow, it's like a great thing that we're all here, because the purpose is actually not to help you, it's actually to help me win this campaign.
That's so cool. Yeah. Are they any of them got kids themselves? Your siblings?
No, 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 no.
You're the oldest out of the bunch, right?
Say that part one time.
You're the oldest one?
Yeah, I'm the eldest. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
My
Is your dad and your dad's still alive too?
yeah, my parents are still here.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So to ask you, so like I know you've been volunteering quite a bit. I was looking at your background and
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you I always pick people up with different questions, so I'll ask you the question. So when you start volunteering the first time, um and did somebody ever come back to you for the first time and just say, you know what, Jessica, thank you so much for your help and I really appreciate it and just you made a difference. Has it ever happened to you?
Yeah. Um,
You want to tell us a story?
yeah, well, it's really funny. A couple years ago, I was looking, well, why did I need to find a place? Well, anyways, I needed to volunteer at well, I guess one example that comes up to mind is when I was in high school. One of the first places I volunteered for was the East Scarborough storefront. At the time, it was called the storefront, but now it's called the East Scarborough storefront. And funny enough, my mom pushed me to volunteer for them. At the time, I was like, I don't want to volunteer for them, but I used their services like growing up, right? And I was really familiar with the staff and everything. So of course, like when you're high school, you need to get your hours, right? So, and they were conveniently like not they moved to the former police station at the time. So it was good that they were conveniently like walking distance for me. And so I volunteered there for like a few years actually. And I remember I needed to leave just because I ended up moving out of the neighborhood and a whole bunch of like stuff was happening. And I remember just, getting my first volunteer appreciation, having conversations with the MP at the time. Her name was like Margaret Best. Um, Having conversations with her, and that was like the first time like I met like a politician, and I was like 14 at the time. And yeah, even to this day too, like I still have conversations that of people that I've helped out with volunteering, and they're like, yeah, I remember you helping me with my resume, typing it up, because at that time not a lot of people had computers. And so like I would type up people's resumes, or I would help them with their email accounts and all that. Like it's basic to us now, but a few years ago it wasn't. So people like, if I'm like around or in park and stuff, they're like, yeah, I remember you, like you helped me with this and that. And I'm like, oh, that's
Nice.
great.
How does it feel? It feels great, huh? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
It
because
just makes you kind of like want to do more. You want to like drive the selfless act of just doing more. There's nothing in it for you personally, but just like helping people build. And that's what I like about All You Can is like this. That's why I got involved with this ward because I was like, I know some last year, but watching all you guys last few weeks with all your debates and just yesterday, is just all that passion each one of you. As Trevor Sutton said, like whoever gets in, they'll make a difference. Right now, we know that. It's really
yeah,
nice to say. We can actually say like whether you or any of the others get in, we can actually say we have confidence in each one of you that you're going to make a difference because you haven't seen that in a long time in any of the awards, especially this 2420 is one of the big
right,
awards. But that's so true. Like just there's no fear like I hope he doesn't get or he's going to get. But you know what? There's that fear is not there. I talked to a lot of people in the last few weeks down in the area, and they said, I've seen the candidates, get to know them. And I got every confidence in every one of them. Every one of them that whoever gets in will make a difference. And
right.
I was gonna ask a question at the thing last night. I didn't get a chance because one question, where they asked the end, if you didn't get it, who'd you vote for?
Yeah.
I know Party paid you off, that guy. Just kidding.
So
No, I was,
Party and I like have a little bond, I guess now. Well, not well, actually from before. So believe it or not, one day I was driving along Kingston Road, and I was passing through one of those bars, and they were setting up for like an event, and they're like, "Can you come back in like an hour? We're gonna have like this amazing event, blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay, sure, no problem." So to I was also canvassing at the same time. So where I was parking my car, Parthy was just setting up his office space across the street. And I was on the phone with my friend, and I was like, I feel like he's a candidate, but I'm not sure, right? So, and I was like afraid to like approach him because I was like, oh, I don't know if I should go, or I know like politicians do this. I don't know if you're like friendly or not. But my friend encouraged me. She's like, just go and talk to him. Just be yourself, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go and I approach him, and honestly, Parthy was like the nicest person. Like, just gave me like the lowdown of like what's going on, and he was just open too about himself. And funny enough, found out too that we went to the same middle school. Of course,
Wow, small world.
yeah, small world, but he was there obviously like years before me. But
Okay.
yeah, and
That's
yeah,
funny. That's so
we
funny. My question I was going to ask you was, all you candidates, I didn't get a chance. I asked this to Kevin last year. I said, if you get in, knowing all the other candidates, their backgrounds and their credentials and their work ethics and their volunteering, when you're looking for staff, would you consider one of the other candidates being part of your staff?
yeah, of course. You have to use all the small people, all the smart people use other smart people to get things
Yeah.
done. So I will
Yeah,
definitely,
that's a question I asked some of the candidates, like
yeah.
knowing that they're, the backgrounds and they're running against you. But even though, like, I even like when I was running for mayor, I said I'd take you and me like as my staff because I know what you like. I know how you work with the community. It's
Mhm.
easier just because you know them. It's easier than looking for somebody, right? Because they're a lot more convenient than searching for somebody. You know?
Right. Yeah, and someone asked me to in the last debate at Birchmill to if I would use the former staff that Crawford had because they have already done the
Oh,
work
okay.
there. And I was like, sure, why not? Because I think it's better to start with people that already know what's going on.
Stuff, yeah, and start from scratch, right?
Yeah, so I'm about working with, and I hope I got to explain that yesterday too, is that the organizations that are already doing the work, like I'm all about collaboration. I'm all about getting people that have experience in the background to do the work, right? Like it's one thing to have the passion, but like we also need people that have the technical skills to move things forward. So
And people can turn to you now. They see you're in politics and you're the forefront.
mhm.
Now that you're there, you're known, right? Like people come to you and say, "I watch you." One day, come and say, "Oh, you inspire me. You ran for as a candidate. You inspire me to run." Come back and right now, that whole find the wall. Right now, what you're saying right now is the people watching this interview and the debate last night be on air. They'll be, you don't know who are you going to affect out there that's going to be in a positive way, and they're going to say, "What she inspired me." And then you forget your name through the years, and they'll run to you 20 years later. You inspire me for candidates for a candidate or do this or even volunteer work. That's just nice. It's the chain reaction of a positive nature, which is you doing a positive thing, right? I got 3 minutes left. Oh, I heard that you're a good singer. I
Yeah, who told you? Who told you?
do my background check. We military guys get our background on the people. You sung before in places?
You know what? So when I actually funny enough, so when I used to live on Eglinton, my mom actually used to push me to go to vocal classes.
No, so
So
pushy, man. Wow. I love her. I gotta meet this lady. Sorry, go on.
yeah, so yeah, I used to do vocals from like a young age, and then oh sorry, my phone battery is just about to die. Sorry. Yeah, so I do
Okay.
vocals. Also, when I was in university, I continued on with vocals as well. But yeah, I don't sing professionally. I guess I sing in my mind now, but I
Yeah, yeah.
don't.
Hey, maybe the next debate on Tuesday, you can just sing your platform. What do you think?
Maybe that would be an interesting way to
I'll get my
get.
harmonica and go, go ahead. I'm just kidding. So we got 2 minutes and I'll ask you quickly. If you get elected, what's two most things you want to do for the community? What's really needed?
Yeah, well, there's just a lot of, I won't say micro things, but just quick fixes that people have, whether it's just fixing lights or just even bringing in stop signs, like those quick
Yeah.
fixes. Like,
The little things
gosh,
that make a difference, right? Yeah.
yeah,
It's amazing. You know?
those that are already pending, like I will make sure to like to get those stuff done. And then the second thing would be get done. Because there's just so many needs in that neighborhood. I'm
Okay,
trying to
just
make,
one thing's enough. One thing's enough. That's okay. That's
yeah,
all right. Yeah. I was gonna say, what do you like before I got 1 minute left? What do you like doing for hobbies before I get cut off here?
for hobbies, like I like playing sports.
Yeah.
Funny enough, like I do play drop-in ball hockey at Birchmount.
Oh, cool.
Um, and hopefully next week I'll get to play some volleyball drop-in at Don Montgomery. So yeah, those are stuff that I like to do.
Like just mixing with the community and all that, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. It's great.
always around.
Yeah, it's, no, it's good. Six siblings, right? Gotta get out of the house, right? It's too packed in there, right? That's good. So I got 1 minute. Do you want to just okay? So why should people elect you? Just tell them in less than 1 minute.
hmm People should elect me because you need someone new. You need a young person that cares, that has some smarts to them. I think those are like the key main things. You just need a new face to represent Scarborough. So
I got less than. I'm gonna get kind of 1 minute. Just want to say thank you much, Jessica, for coming on the show and doing the pod. I'll give you a copy. I'll put it on the net. You'll see it on the website, and I'll see you on Tuesday for the next one.
that's
And much appreciation. I value your opinion, and I value your just helping with the community. So thank you so much. Kind of eat some lunch, and yeah. So I'll see you next Tuesday. You know,
yeah. Thank you.
consider the
Have
singing. Consider the singing part. It might be good. You never know, right? Yeah.
okay.
Thanks a lot,
Later.
Jessica. Have a good day. Okay.